everyone to a doubleheader today, another space with the Aladdin A team. This morning we were joined by Conic Finance and learned all the incredible innovative things that they're building there with the incredible technology of omnipools. Very enlightening discussion there, and we're hoping that we can follow it up just as strongly with the folks from Paladin here. We've got Feig with us today from Paladin. Thanks for joining us today, Feig.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're very excited today to learn all about the vote incentives and everything else that Paladin has been innovative here in DeFi. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with some introductions. We'll go with the A team first here, just to give everybody a clue on who's on the call here. We've got DeFi Advisor. What's up, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Really enjoyed the call earlier with Conic. Was really informative. So did the community call today, and really looking forward to this one as well because I think we're going to have at least as much as alpha on this one with Paladin for the first time here, and everything going on with FX as well. So really looking forward to our first talk with the Paladin guys with Phil.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And then also joining us is CryptoVestor. How are you, sir? Good to see you again.
Good. How you doing, sir? Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to talking to Fig and learning a little bit more about Paladin. You guys might know I'm a big CVX fan and really always interested in new vote markets. So can't wait to really to learn a little bit more and understand the system.
You and me both, brother.
Yep,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And also joining us is the newest member of the A team, Cyril. Hey, Cyril, how's it going, man?
Hey, Cam, I'm good. Thank you very much for having me for this first official A team talk tonight, and I'm very excited about talking about Paladin, especially since there is still a couple of hours to vote for the first Gauge ever on FX. So I'm very excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, our guest of the hour. It is our pleasure and honor to introduce Feig from Paladin. How are you? How are you, Feig?
I am fine. It's the end of the day for me already, so we got this. I thought I was muted. Sorry, it's a classic with me. I apologize for this. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that we're finally live on FX. I just put it on Twitter, but I have been harassing my team for the past since FX has been live, telling them we should do something with it. So I'm really happy we have something that's finally there. I think there's a ton of crazy things that we're going to be able to see unravel with what the stack that FX protocol has and Aladdin has deployed up until now. My goal is to break you. It's your second live stream today, so hopefully we'll all end up mentally exhausted from this one because there's probably a lot to unpack.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm quite a delicate flower, so it's not going to take much. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything since breakfast, so go be gentle at first, but then if you want to take the gloves off, you do what you can, sir. So.
I didn't know the talk is gonna get R-rated or however you call it.
I
Don't beat
yeah,
him up too much, okay? We need him, all right? Don't not too much. We got a big launch tomorrow.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh, 21st. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, already.
But it's coming fast, Zero.
Yeah, it is coming fast. I remember when FX was first released and we started seeing CryptoVestor talking about FUSD, FXUSD every single day up until the Aladdin team had to give up and push it out.
Yeah, yeah. It was like it was brute force, but it worked.
So honestly, I was a much bigger believer in FEF initially. I
Yeah.
did not share the same opinion as CryptoVestor, but now that it's live, I actually understand a lot the importance of FXUSD because I don't think FEF has the potential on the short term to scale as quickly as FXUSD can. It's very hard to get people into holding an asset and using it that is not directly the dollar. And crypto dollars are extremely strong. So I think that especially now that we have the gauges, I expect FXUSD to really become one of the most liquid and the one that can get the most integrations pretty quickly on other places.
It's funny you mentioned that, and let's yeah talk about FETH a little bit because it is sort of one of our flagship products, and it was one of the first ones developed, and it's been great, for us so far for launching and getting TVL into the protocol. I kind of agree with you that FXUSD is much more of a if we're talking about monetary terms. Um, that FXUSD is much more of an exchange of value than it is sort of a store of value. Whereas FETH is a good store of value in terms of if you're looking at that for USD. So they're like different use cases, and I think you like really hit it on the head that FETH is probably, I think you can speculate that it was great for its time, especially when USDC depegged, and it's really good to have that sort of safe store of value to kind of like head to. But as a medium of exchange, it's a little bit difficult, right? I mean, in terms because everybody wants to think in USD terms, and so having FXUSD is sort of like a nice kind of like leap towards that. So, but I think FETH it's ahead of its time right now, and so it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see how it develops in the future, especially just in terms of international politics and euro dollar market and all that.
Yeah. I should probably clear something up too. I came to FX early on, and it was FETH that got me there, like attracted me to FX, right? So I should probably clear up, even though I'm a big advocate for FXUSD because of all the things we just mentioned, the scalability and all of that, partnerships with PYUSD and all of the different stablecoin and partners. But I do think that, I do really think that FETH has a role as probably something that I would consider even, there's a lot of stablecoin providers that are trying to do something that pegs to CPI and other inflation indexes. And to me, FETH is way ahead of that because it's obviously pegged to Ethereum. So, but I think it's going to take a little time, like you said, to get people, acclimated. I think FXUSD will actually bring people to FX and learn about FETH, and may actually be kind of, the I don't know what you call it, like the kind of what gets people in the door, so to speak.
Oh,
And so,
100%. I
yeah,
totally agree with you. So the reason why we got into this is that through our work at Paladin, we're inclined to work a lot with stablecoins and LSTs. We haven't even produced what we're doing, I'm sorry, but we started building Paladin 3 years ago by building governance market. We started by doing this on top of Uni, Aave, Comp, and progressively we started adapting this on Curve and then on Bouncer. We unfortunately weren't the first live because we usually have pretty long dev cycles. But this is where we really started hitting some product market fit, and we started earning enough revenue to keep building into it and to be profitable at that scale. And basically, what we do all the time is we help projects grow their liquidity on chain through vote markets. So through the vote markets that we have on Curve, on Balancer, and now on FX, potentially with the FX USD pools. And our job is basically to help the projects define the strategies of liquidity. Do they want to reach POL? Do they want to reach a certain velocity that's going to enable them to get, for example, a chainlink oracle, or do they want to get listed on exchanges? And we just do the on-chain part, and through the incentive campaigns that they do, on which our protocol takes a fee, we enable them to grow in such a way. Well, that's what we do. We work with tons of projects like Aave, like Liquidity, like Alchemix, Inverse, etc., etc. And basically, the reason why we spend so much time on stablecoins is that the projects who need the most liquidity are stablecoins and LSTs, ETH derivatives, etc. What I think is very interesting is that since ETH staking appeared, there's a huge narrative around yield-bearing assets. So the fact that you can create a yield-bearing economy once you create staking with proof of stake, for example. What's very interesting about this is that now you have something like FX, which takes the best of this, which is the yield, and can remove the actual risk, which is the volatility. That's really strong because we have this on ETH, staked ETH, and it's a massive industry. So building on top of it is very rewarding. You have a ton of lending on top of these yield-bearing assets, but you can replicate this onto any interesting yield-bearing assets that you'll see eventually. So indeed, in this sense, FX is not a protocol, a normal protocol. It's not a lending protocol. It's a new type of money Lego, and I think that's the really interesting part and why we're so excited to be on there, because I think it's going to offer one of the more interesting ways to leverage your yield-bearing assets, especially LSTs in the current market.
If you go one step further, you can make that stablecoin a new yield-bearing asset afterwards, staked into
Exactly.
the balance pool.
Oh yeah, and what becomes super
a story for another time, maybe.
No, but what becomes really, really interesting with the launch with Pendle, with Spectra, with Napier that's launching soon, is that you can even have different pools where people will be able to speculate on this yield in the stability pool. So it creates really, really cool interactions that we're going to see, I think, pretty soon.
Yeah, we actually had Napier on last week, and we talked about sort of the hypothetical of their PT tokens in the stability pool, and sort of or splitting that, right? And so very, very unique opportunity, and they obviously see the potential there as well. So just a lot to look forward to with Protocol FX. Fig, I tell you what, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself? Like, how did you get into crypto and DeFi, and how did that lead you to Paladin?
And I'm muted again. It will happen several times. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
I got into crypto because I saw people talking about crypto on Reddit in something like 2014 or 2015. I was a miner, so I missed Ethereum pre-sale because my bank didn't want me to send money there. But I thought there would be other opportunities. In hindsight, it was not a great idea.
Yeah.
And then, like everyone, I think in 2016, 2017, I started playing around crypto, speculating, trying to understand the tech, stuck around. And I think it changed a lot in 2019. I think it was FCC2, something like this. I'm French, so it was in Paris. And I saw one of the first conferences on DeFi, which was, I think, the Maker folks and the ETHLend folks at that time. And at that time, I used to be a banking lawyer, and it just clicked in my head. I was like, oh, wait, this is what crypto can do. I didn't really understand the use cases before actually hearing of DeFi. And that's why I started going all in into it. So I started a very small delegate platform on top of Uniswap, which didn't really work well. Then we had a few ideas. We tested one during a hackathon, which was a governance marketplace. We won that hackathon, and we thought, okay, maybe we should try to do something serious with this idea. And here we are 3 years later, still playing around with the same concepts because there's so much to do in this industry.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fascinating, just sort of the different directions you can go in terms of DeFi to build on top of things. We've definitely reached escape velocity in terms of money Legos, and it looks like you guys are really taking advantage of that with your markets. Can you talk a little bit about like Paladin itself? It looks like when you visit the main page of it, there's several different aspects to Paladin. Can you kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so we've built several apps. We actually, I think, released 4 or 5 apps last year because we had a few ideas. Now we're really trying to focus on the 1-2 that really work for us. Because we initially did governance markets for Uniswap, Aave, and Compound, we had this that we call Paladin Lending. We've been sunsetting that app because it wasn't working as much as we wanted, and we wanted to focus on other apps. Today, we basically have 4 apps that are live. Our main one is Quest, which is the vote marketplace. Can think of it like it's a vote marketplace where people can place vote incentives like Votium, like Vote Market. Has a very, very different technical stack. There's probably 5 vote marketplaces in total outside of Quest. We are the only one that's entirely different in terms of the way it functions, because instead of having a system where you put some incentives and dilutes by the number of voters you have, the way it works is that you can choose a fixed dollar per vote you're going to pay, or a range, which means a maximum and minimum number of price under which it's going to dilute. So it's a bit more sophisticated for people who create them, but the idea is that they have much more control on the way they're going to deposit, they're going to basically use these incentives. And I think that's a very important step, because it means that you can avoid having rugging users where they expect a certain amount of rewards and gets diluted to oblivion because there's a minimum cap. And the other way around, you can prevent people who are creating these incentives to overpay. So that's something we've been very successful at. There's a ton of other features, like, for example, bribe to liquidity mining, which means that if you don't have all the incentives that you expected to spend that are actually spent, because that's possible on our platform, you can actually convert them into liquidity mining if you want, or you can claim them back, or you can roll them to the next period. That's our main service. We're doing roughly slightly under 150. I think we're at $125,000 of volume per week. So we count per week, not per round. So it's around $250,000 per round right now. We're available on Curve, on Balancer, on Bunny, and on FX. There's a few other marketplaces that will be added later on, but we'll try to focus on places where we already have demand, which we already had demand on FX. And if we didn't, I would have created it because I wanted this to happen. But that's our main product. We built two products on top of our stack. The second one is delegation, which is basically an auto voter where people can delegate their VLCVX, their VL Aura to us. And what we do is we manage them for them, give them optimized vote incentives, and roll them back into stablecoins. So it's CRV USD for VLCVX, and it's USDC for the VL Aura folks. So it's basically, through this, we're managing close to $10 million of vote assets. So it's quite a lot. And the idea is just to simplify the stack for users who don't want to vote every week. And if you want to simplify even more, we have a system where people can deposit ETH, CVX, or Aura. It's basically an index of voting into both of these ecosystems where we compound back the rewards and distributes them as ETH. So it's trickling down every week. That's basically called Warlord, and it's basically the first vote incentive index. Initially, we wanted to add FXN into it, but the thing is, because it's already integrated into Convex, it's more interested just for us to get more CVX into the system. So that's basically the 3 layers of pyramid of our main system. We then have 2 other apps who are a bit less relevant. We have an app that enables people to borrow Go at a cheaper level by basically using the stake Aave that other people have. And the third one, which is called Gordon, is basically a way for people to borrow Boost. So, for example, if you don't want to farm on Convex, you can buy the Boost of someone else for FXN. But it's not live yet on FXN. We don't know if we'll push it if there's demand, because considering there's already Stake and Convex that already do boosting, we don't know if it's relevant for us to push this. Our main focus today at Paladin is really Quest, which is our flagship product, and the one where we are earning something like 90% of our revenue as a DAO.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's you guys have been building nonstop, it sounds like, for since you've been live. So pretty amazing to walk us through that. And I think for our community, we've been sort of like helping get the message across of these quests that have been ongoing. And so I kind of like to talk about those individually. So it sounds like from an incentivizer's point of view, and also from a person that's like a VE token holder view, the good thing about Quest is you kind of have an idea going in as to like what the expectations are in terms of rewards received versus VE tokens that you receive. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the system has a filter. We're actually on the verge of releasing whole new UX, which will be a bit better. But what's very, very important about Quest is that it's a multi-layer vote incentive marketplace, and it's the only one, which means that basically people, you can deposit incentives, and people with VLCVX and VFXN can earn it. And that's the only marketplace where this is actually possible. This means that when you're depositing an incentive, it's the only marketplace where you can get 100% of the votes that are actually going to be reached by this incentive. So, for example, if you look right now, we have a dollar incentive from Inverse Finance and a Go incentive from Aave. They both received a mix of VFXN and VLCVX votes. So you can actually see, if you look at the filters, there's a VFXN and VLCVX filter. So by using this, you can see the price in VFXN and in VLCVX.
That is so cool. Yeah, it's pretty amazing product here, and very exciting to kind of participate in it. As I as a VEFXN holder, it was kind of like one of those deals where it's sort of a new concept for me to vote with my VE tokens, and so it was just kind of amazing that like it leads you back to the gauge for the FX protocol on its page because it's obviously an on-chain vote, and so that was the other thing that kind of threw me for a loop from Snapshot is that I had to pay gas in order to vote. So I was like, oh, this is new, but it was actually really cool because at the very least I could like immediately know how to factor that into my P&L from the votes and sort of like what I'll be receiving from these quests. So kind of a really cool feature.
Yeah, it's when you have V tokens, so not the VLCVX. This is entirely on chain, so you have to pay the transaction each time to recast your vote, and you can only cast it once. So you have to be very careful about your choice because you can only cast it once every 10 days at least, at the minimum. What's interesting is that you can vote once and never move your vote again. So if you're going to incentivize a protocol you feel is going to keep incentivizing, you can basically just set your vote once and just claim whenever you want.
That is an excellent tip, sir. That is, I think you just paid for this entire space here. That's fantastic.
But trust me, I've had VCRV for a while. At some point, you learn.
Fantastic. So, Cyril, you've been kind of a big proponent of Paladin and quests as well. What is it that kind of attracted you to it individually? Had you used it before? What's your experience with it?
I've used it a little bit with Bunny, and but only as a user, so just voting and getting incentives for it. That's all. Yeah, and I wanted to ask you a question, even if I already know the answer, but I've seen it a couple of times on the Discord, so maybe that's relevant to ask it again here. But as a user, how and when do you get your voting rewards on Paladin? How does it? Where can you find it?
That is very important. Thank you for specifying it. So the rewards are distributed every first day. It's probably going to be about noon Europe time, so early morning in the US and evening in Asia. So every Thursday is probably in roughly 16 hours they will be distributed. It takes maybe 1 hour more for the delegation to be distributed, and then it's every week. So if you're on Votium, you get all your rewards on Tuesday for 2 weeks. On Paladin, you get every rewards every Thursday. So it's going to be for every week and not per round because we are attached to the base layer, so we need the actual FX round to be over for this to be compatible. Something very important to differentiate is that on the other VFXN marketplace, which I think is Vote Market, you have to claim weekly, otherwise your incentives are wiped and rolled to the next round. On Quest, once you have voted, your incentive can be claimed forever. And they're in a smart contracts, only you can reach them. And we actually have a good amount of dust of people who never who never got their claim their incentives. So don't forget to claim them.
Yeah, I did like that feature that you could just let it. You could basically set it and forget it. Essentially, is basically what it is, and that's so convenient from a user perspective because sometimes you just can't be near your computer or whatever to place the votes. So that's really nice.
Even more with the out of order feature. Is it already live with the FXN, by the way?
What do you mean? What's already live?
The out of order.
Oh yeah, no, the auto voter has already participated in the last round. So yes, the rewards are already compounded. They will be compounded for tomorrow. It actually, I will get killed by my team if I don't mention this. Because I see someone in the comments talking about it. We publish on a weekly basis a newsletter on vote incentives and gauges in general, which is called the Weekly Gauge. And we just released 1 hour ago our latest issue, which is about FX. The reason why I'm mentioning it is that we did the maths, and right now the FX and incentives raised the VLCVX average rewards by 3%, which is not that much, but Convex is very big, and we expect it to raise by 10-15% probably in the next 3 to 6 months. So it's going to have a significant impact on CVX too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's Robo Odin popped up a chat comment here a minute ago, and I'll show it again because I really liked it. It said clever plus quest could be a very powerful combo, and what's interesting about that for folks that that aren't familiar with clever, it's basically a way to deposit CVX and maximize your yields by essentially getting liquidation free leverage on the bribe income that you get. And so it's basically cash flow financing. You can earn your future yields today. But what it's powered by is those underlying vote incentives for the VE gauges, Prisma gauges, and now FXN gauges. With the addition of sort of the quests on Paladin, and the returns available on it, it's just going to be able to amp that up even more. And so it makes it sort of a very lucrative sort of potential, combination for Clever to continue utilizing and making part of its arsenal to just make Clever more powerful, but also with Paladin and its quests and just participating, and just basically ensuring that those protocols that do incentivize, their incentives are being utilized well, because it looks like not only can you, uh, set like a specific amount of VEFXN that you want, you can set a range, it looks like, as well for protocols. So pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely like it. So it looks like you've got Curve, you have Balancer, you have Bunny, you have FX, and so how long have each of these markets been live for, Fig?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think really quickly. I think so. This is Quest V2 that we released in November, so 4 months ago. We released Quest V1 in May 2022. I want to say yes. Actually, funny story. We released it the week of Terra Luna, so we had like a hefty number of really cool clients that we're super happy to have on board. And yeah, half of them died on the week. The other half was half bankrupt. So we had no clients on the first month simply because like everyone was in deep trouble. That was fun. We really started having the marketplace functioning in July 2022, and since then we've had the volume growing. Well, slowly but surely in the right direction. And we released the Balancer app, I think, on the second round of incentives when it was pushed. And we released Bunny on the week it was released, and FXN on the week it was released. So we've been getting better at this. There's a few major releases that are going to happen because when we release V2, there's a few things that we wanted to add, but we prefer to have V2 live first and then adding these features. So we're actually doing a whole UX do-over that's going to happen really soon. And it's going to be combined with the tokenomics relaunch, which is actually very important because what it's going to do is that it's going to create boosted incentive campaigns. So the bigger stakeholder you are in our protocol, in Paladin, through the PAL token, the more PAL emissions you can add onto quests, so onto an incentive campaign. And basically, the voters are going to be the one that are going to be farming it, which means that vote incentives are set to grow by 5-10% on average for the ones that will be boosted. So there's going to be even more incentives for the FXN and VLCBX folks that are voting in this quest.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. If you're a VLCVX holder, just in terms of like clarifying for folks, just sort of the steps they go through to vote on these, all they have to do is essentially just vote on the gauge in the convex snapshot. Is that correct?
Yep, nothing changes. It's exactly the same as any other marketplace for them. The only thing is that they have to go on our platform to claim the incentive. That's about it. Like nothing changes. What happens any marketplace is a layer on top of the voting infrastructure. So you vote on the same place you vote every time. So either on the FX at Aladdin page or either on the convex snapshot page, and then you just go claim your incentives when the round is over on Thursday.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe you can show on the screen when you hit the little votes button, you'll get the direct links to be able to vote either on FX or on convex snapshot. So people can just browse the rewards on Paladin site and just go find the direct links to vote.
Yeah, if you go and you hit on it, it takes you directly to.
And a good thing to know as well is that when VLCVX are delegated to, let's say, Vodium, for example, if they find better rewards on Paladin for a specific round and they vote for it, it will override Vodium's vote, so the delegation for this specific vote. So they can still take a look at Paladin's yields.
No, the CVX round is over. So CVX voting ends on Monday evening, while VFXN rounds end on Wednesday evening. So today, I think right now there's only 5,000 or 6,000 VFXN that haven't voted, which is like 5% of the whole gauge. If you haven't, I recommend you vote because you will be losing on some significant gains. I think right now we're talking about something like 80 cents per vote. So that's like $4,000 of rewards that are left and that are going to be shared for the people who actually voted. So there's incentives who are still there. Feel free to go to them. So also don't forget to LP at midnight today because this is when 1 p.m. UTC. Sorry. That's when the rain is going to start happening in the FXN gauges.
Yeah, you're correct. That's only for VFXN for this round. I was just talking more in general. Like if you're delegating, you don't have to undelegate. You can just vote for a specific round and get the rewards. So feel free to check the rewards on Paladin regularly because it can be very juicy.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Can you explain that a little bit more, Fig? I didn't actually know that, and that's really interesting. So if you're delegated to Vodium, you can go ahead and vote. And how does that work exactly?
So the way the delegation system works in general on Convex and on Aura on these VL type tokens is that they vote in your stead. But if you see a better opportunity or if you want to do something else, you can actually overwrite it. So when you see a large auto voter voting, you're going to sometimes notice their vote number, their actual number of votes they control, go down during the round. That's because people are voting afterwards because they saw a better opportunity. So you can use the auto voter as a backup. We have some users that do this. And basically what they do is that they say, I don't know if I'll have time to vote. So I'm going to delegate. And in case I see something else or I have a gauge I want to use, I can basically vote for myself later on. So you can use auto voters as a backup. That's we do this for a lot of clients.
Did we?
Yeah. So the auto voter, it's basically you just go and you can sign up for it and utilize it however you like.
Yeah. Very interesting system. Very, very sophisticated. Much more. I would definitely, say this is, a bigger step ahead than some of the other vote markets out there for sure.
We're trying to do retroactive performance reports. Part of it is going to be in the new UX. The other part is still in the process because something we did in our V2 is that we have a huge database that's collecting a lot of data on the performances of each incentive campaigns. And then through this, we'll be able to query and show the past distribution. Something that's very problematic in crypto is that the APR is shown at moment X, but it's not the actual APR, right? Because there's fluctuation, it moves in and out. So there's a strong incentive, especially for this kind of bribes, for example, to show how good the yield has been retroactively. For example, on VLCVX and on VCRV, we have like 2, 3, 4 years of retroactive data, right? So it's interesting to track it to understand better for users who are committing on the long term what they're getting into, because the VFXN is going to be there for a while, right? So if you want people to natively lock, which is healthy, you want people to lock into lockers and you want people to lock natively, you're going to need to give a lot more retroactive data on this. Same for VLCVX, right? You need people who are going to commit 4 months. This is not nothing.
Right. No, it's pretty mind blowing. I will say this. I talked with the guys at Trident, and I know they really do like your system a lot because of the way it breaks everything down, because of the fixed price per vote, and because it has the ability to basically carry over the remaining balance, right, to not overpay, if I understand correctly. So yeah, they're very excited about what they can do with Paladin.
Yeah, and there's a lot more. We're very excited about the tokenomics launch. We're very excited about all the yield trenching that's happening with Pendle, with Spectra, with Napier, because there's a ton of things that can be played around that haven't been really made public. There's a ton of things that haven't been unearthed, and we want to slowly push this as a kind of a primitive for these vote markets. So you're going to see a lot more. I mean, we haven't stopped for the past years. We're going to keep going for the three next. Anyone is welcome if they want to jump into a Discord and they have idea. We're always open to these. But yeah, I'm really happy we integrated FXN, because I think I'm not sure people realize how big it's going to be. Because the more if it brings in, the more real yield it's going to have, and the more real yield it's going to have, the more it can attract people to lock, and the more these emissions are actually going to because they lock creates a higher, more solid valuation because they had to buy it just before and they're not going to sell it. And so it just creates a flywheel where it's just going to attract more and more. And I think it's a project that's at the right place at the right time. It's one of the few projects that has a really novel mechanism. And the proof of this is that we're starting to see people copy it.
You don't have to tell us, sir. We we definitely feel that way too. I mean, we're very excited about FX, and we see the potential, and we're really pleased to be a partner with you guys as well.
Yeah, you can keep telling us if you want, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. And you're talking about.
To be honest, it's really fun. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go for it.
I'm just saying it's really fun to see other participants within the ecosystem get excited about FX and really looking at it as something with a lot of potential, and even wanting their own projects to become more and more composable and integrated with it. I think it's the biggest honor that FX and our community can get, and I really like it, to be honest. Like to hear the opinion of builders like yourself, who actually give their own perspective on why they're interested in FX and what we're building at Aladdin and how it resonates with what they're doing, and how we can leverage on all of that together. So exciting, one of the best parts of what we do, I'm sure.
I think the relationship between Aladdin and FX is very much underestimated by the market right now, because it's easy to see FX as a single-minded protocol, but you have partner protocol, sister protocols, right? If that's the way you can call them. You have a significant stack of CVX that can be used on top of FX for the gauges. You have the concentrator that can be used to optimize, and you have Clever that can be used to leverage. So it's a lot of things that are happening around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a really good point. I wasn't really thinking about Clever, but you're right. There's a huge potential there, and I think you're right. It is underestimated.
Well,
very much so.
What about the yield coming from the TVL from the staked ETH, but not to mention the yield coming from the volume, because on each mint or redeem on FX and lockers, we get a portion of the fees. So that's also something I believe we underestimate at the moment.
Oh yeah, we're underestimating that, Cyril, right now. We don't realize how big that's going to be. The fee generation is something that not everybody understands it fully. And I think the truth is, I think Fig understands it. I think, Cyril, you understand it. And obviously KMS, everybody on this call understands it. But the fact that I think Charlene made a point the other day in Discord that, it kind of resonated. I mean, FX is more than just a stablecoin provider, or it is a true new money Lego, and in a way, it's almost a DEX. when you think about all of the different assets and the different pools that it can create, and being able to drive liquidity into different pools, it's going to be it's going to be really truly fascinating to watch FX grow. And I think you're in the right place at the right time, very early on to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I think the real flywheel hasn't started yet, actually, because the real
nice.
flywheel is a thesis that we have developed at Paladin, is that a project of a certain size is incentivized to build his own stablecoin, simply because the network effects of having your own system ecosystem stablecoin brings in so much value for you. So the
Right.
example is today all the incentives around the Aladdin ecosystem are distributed in different tokens, right? What happens once you start distributing everything in FE for FXUSD?
Ugh.
Which means that you compound everything into the protocol, right? And people are happy because you're giving out stablecoin yield. That's so you can just think about how much, not the fees that the protocol is making, but the fees that the protocol is distributing. How many millions that is today. And now you just think this is the minimum growth that the protocol is going to have just through its activity. And that's in such protocol, in such ecosystem as Aladdin, is absolutely crazy.
You just anticipated the message I was about to send you in a couple of days, Jim.
Yeah, no, that was awesome, Fig. That was, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was really good. Totally agree.
We should get this guy on. We should get this guy on the team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when Fig on A team.
Exactly.
I think we should talk a little bit about the vote markets in general. Like you were saying, Fig, we haven't seen the full effect of the flywheel yet, and I see vote markets, all of them, not just Paladin, but all of them in general, as liquidity engines for powering all different types of assets, especially Curve, obviously, but I just see it in from that perspective. I don't think people are realizing right now. It just seems like gamification of votes and things like that. But I really do see, now with PYUSD and PayPal getting involved, and I just see a future that's really, really big. And I just don't think that people realize it yet.
It's complicated, because 2 years ago we were saying that half of the protocols in crypto would start using V-tokenomics, and that we were going to see a lot more of this. I think that the biggest value that the V-token creates is certainty about emissions, certainty about where the tokens are going, about the value creation they can make, about liquidity. But we've realized that transaction takes much more time that we're seeing. I think we're going to see 2 to 3 at least protocols that are going to reach curve size with V-tokenomics in this cycle. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying everyone is going to do it. Not everyone should do it. But I think people underestimate the time it takes for quality system to really take plant into it. So I just do think that we need a lot more time to get to the place a lot of vote marketplaces thought they would be today, 2 years ago. I also think that something that we can kind of regret is that a lot of it is, I don't want to say low effort, but we are lacking a lot of creativity into what has been done today. That's why we took it as a point of honor not to do like dilutive incentives from the get-go, because we thought this was something that was created by Andre Cronje three years ago, I think, already. And the model was really not really innovated outside of fixed incentive that we have done. It's mostly the same, right? I think it's important that we release new things, because if we really want this to be new money Lego and for it to stay interesting for users, it has to renew itself, right? And that's something very important that hasn't been done enough. I do think the incentive marketplace is going to become bigger and bigger, but it's also important to see that it's not just vote marketplaces. Like, to be fully transparent, so a model that's very successful lately is what's happening with Veldrum and Optimism with Solidly Forks. And they are doing a lot of fees, but it's not really relevant for a vote marketplace to go on top of this, right? Because they already have their internal infrastructure.
Yeah.
So my
Mhm.
take is that on the long term, they're probably going to perform less than people who have an externalized bright marketplace, because when you have external projects that work together, the way Curve has done with other projects, or the way FXN is doing, you create a symbiosis where more people are working on the same problem together. So it's more a business development workforce in general. It's more people working towards a problem, and you end up having higher quality products because you can have multiple marketplaces. Like FXN had 3 marketplaces at launch, and you have no incentive in choosing a winner. You just want everyone to do their best and to see
Right.
which will come out at the top, and it has to be the best platform, and you want people to keep being able to challenge them, to keep pushing them to their limit.
Yeah, I had not really thought of it that way, but that makes a lot of sense. The ability to the fact that you have several markets, a lot of people developing, versus one team. That's really really interesting. It makes a lot of sense, and like I said, I think that vote markets. I don't even know if they'll be called vote markets in the future. I think it's going to be something different. It's going to evolve into something much bigger. And I think you're going to see you're going to get to a point where you see multinational organizations involved, and we've already kind of started to see it with PayPal, and I'm sure we'll see it with other, huge corporations in the future. So I definitely think there's a big future for the vote markets in general, so yeah, I'm very bullish for this whole sector.
Yeah, me too.
I think everybody on this call is pretty much the same opinion. I haven't heard anybody we haven't gotten into a good fight yet.
Yeah.
I was promised a good fight, so I'm glad it's much less combative.
No fighting on here. It's all love here. It looks like.
Yes.
You're saying this. You have 2 Frenchmen who are from the south of France.
Yeah.
Fight can happen very quickly.
I tell you what, remember the Alamo, my friend.
Yeah.
So Fig, I mean you guys have built really like a fantastic product. You did mention that you guys were going to be having like a new UI UX kind of like rolling out here in the not too distant future. What can folks expect from Paladin and Quest here in the not too distant future?
I mean, new marketplaces, a new UX, the tokenomics, which are going to be a very big deal, I think, because they're going to drive value through the ecosystem. So to give you an idea, last year, Paladin made $500,000 in revenue. This year, we're expecting something around 2 million. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to start redistributing part of the revenue in the coming few months through this system, which means that you'll have the vote incentives that you used to have, the Paladin missions, and on top of that, DAO revenue, most likely. That's a very big one for us. What else can we disclose? I'm trying to think because we've been working on a few things, but as I mentioned, we have long development cycles because you have to take the R&D, then you do the smart contracts, then you get them audited, then you build the front end. So the cycles tend to be a bit long when you do things well. So, I mean, we are working a lot on analytics because we realized that there was a lot of data that wasn't pushed enough. But honestly, just more incentives of better quality from more protocols is the best thing that we would wish for everyone.
One thing that I wanted to ask, and I think you kind of touched on it a little bit about analytics. I know this is important for the for the guys at for the PayPal and the bigger corporations. They want to know like complete stats about how much they're paying per vote down to the vote. They want to know how much emissions that's getting them. They want to know over the period of time. They want to have graphs and charts. So I'm just obviously some of the V1 vote markets, Votium and Vote they're not at that level yet. I just wanted to ask, are there plans to provide that? Are you expanding on that? I know that's something that they're asking us when we talk to them, because they want numbers, and so just wanted to get your thoughts before we drop off.
The new UX will have a lot more data, quality data, clean data, not too much, the right thing at the right place, I would say, into it. But for more global view, we want to build something specifically for our large customers. This is already in the works, But
Mhm.
this is not going to be something we will most likely share publicly, because I don't think these kind of very large data sets are interesting a lot of people. The only
Right.
thing I can regret today is that there is no aggregation today of the vote incentives. There is no such a thing. There is no
Mm.
place where you can see all of the VFXN vote. There is no place where you can see all of the VLCVX votes. And this is simply due to the fact that there really is not a business model for anyone to build an aggregation layer. Like, if you look at Vote Market, they started as an aggregation layer and they stopped, because why would you want to push other projects onto your platform, right? It's going to be the same for everywhere. So until we find an incentive model for a place to aggregate, there's not going to be one. The only thing that I saw that kind of works is the new UI that Convex is working on, but this is dependent on the fact that they will move on an L2. So as long as Convex hasn't moved on an L2, they will not aggregate the data because they can't read. There is no data for them to read, right? So, for example, what has worked, for example, is what Bunny has done. They've done the same thing, is that they've basically displayed on their gauge system directly the incentives that were here. But again, it's a lot of work for the Aladdin's team. So at some point, you need someone to do the heavy lifting, and there isn't a lot of actors who have the right incentive to do it.
Yeah, from what I gathered, then that means that you understand that there's a need for that analytics, and you probably will be able to provide that information to the people who need it, and obviously for the general public who doesn't need that much detail, you don't need to provide that, but the ability to do it is there.
Yeah, the biggest problem is that almost every single different stakeholder wants different data points. And
Sure.
unless you're a data company, something like Llama Earthforce does a wonderful job. I don't even know if they're a company, by the way. I'm not sure you can actually do it by yourself. So what we've been doing is that we've been building a nice database to get all of this data. We're going to try to give as many outputs as it makes sense for us to give. And then eventually we'll try to give access to people who want to build on top of this to get the right data.
That's going to be handy, especially when A-Team builds the Grand Central Terminal for the Aladdin products. So
Oof.
Ooh,
it'll be very exciting.
Hey, he put it out there.
dropping alpha right at the end, huh?
Just like that, man. That's how I like it.
I thought you were supposed to take alpha from me, not the opposite. That was too easy.
Hey, we're giving and taking here, right? It's all about love, right?
Yeah, symbiosis. This is a crypto symbiosis in the making.
Precisely.
Yeah, no, very impressive. Fig, very, very, very impressive product. I think that what we're going to see in the next couple of months and years to come is going to be pretty impressive here.
You know what I'm curious about? You know what I'm curious about? I'm curious about what Cyril is already planning.
What is he plotting? What is he plotting over there?
Where his mind is already going, like with the.
You just read my mind, dude, because I was actually thinking of a yield-bearing PAL token, and that could be stable leveraged on FX.
Ooh,
I told you. I
Cyril.
felt it.
You
I
just
really
said
just
that,
felt it.
Come on.
the token is gonna be able to capture a part of the fees generated by Paladin. So that means there could be a yield-bearing token at some point.
Stable leverage pair for Paladin. I'm liking it.
Leverage pair as well. So
That's interesting.
I have some other ideas too that might be really interesting that I'll share in the Discord too.
and of course, have the one you suggested before, Fig, is to compound all the voting rewards into FX USD, and that would make a lot of sense.
Wow.
That was a bomb right there.
We could, so we deployed something. Right now, the main delegation for VLCVX does it in CRV USD because that was something we decided with the Curve team. But we can deploy a custom delegation system that could do it in FX USD for those who want. Like, I don't think it's that hard for us to do because we've started doing custom delegations. So if you are a large CVX holder, what you can do is that you can drop us the prerequisites of what you expect. Basically, what gauges you want to vote, what part you want for optimized bribes, and what reward token you want as an output. And we can set this up for you. And basically, you don't have to do it yourself. If you want, you can vote, but if you don't, it's just going to do that preset rules that you've done.
Yeah, sounds good. And even if at some point we have an auto compounding FX USD, that would be even better, because that would be set and forget strategy from the start.
Cyril just keeps dropping the bombs, doesn't he?
Yeah, man, like what's going on? This is like live coverage, like live building, not even a live show.
And you have the Aladdin team furiously taking notes on the side.
I'm not even getting enough time to tweet about it.
We haven't even talked about RUSD or points yet. Ugh.
That's right.
Yeah, but I don't think if you guys don't need to hang up, we can keep pushing it. I don't know how busy you all are, but
well, I personally am going to have to leave here at the top of the hour, so I only have a few more minutes. But
yeah, so do I.
You guys are more than welcome to continue the conversation offline, and I'm quite certain it will be continued. So it's been really great catching up with you today, Fig, and learning everything about Paladin. I think we're all excited to sort of digest it and continue seeing it develop and grow. Any final words or thoughts or anything we didn't cover that you want to go ahead and let us know about right now?
Rewards are being distributed tomorrow if you voted on Quest. If you didn't, consider delegating to us your VLCVX. And see you soon. You're going to hear more of us, I think.
Well, I would hope so from the FXN hype account that is run by Fig. So yeah, absolutely.
Good job, man.
It's been a pleasure, sir. We've really enjoyed having you on today. Guys, anything else from any of you?
No, I just want to thank you guys for the time and for having me on here. Thank you, Fig. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to DMing you and getting more information about Paladin.
For sure. Really, thanks for coming, Fig. I really think it's with great timing just now as the votes are opening up. And really, a lot of fun having you guys here. Kmets, thanks for another great one.
Yes, thank you, sir, for hosting.
And Cyril, welcome to the A-Team, man. What a great addition, and what it's so much fun. That it already felt that you're an integral part for a few months now, actually. But to have it be more official, and that honestly brings a smile. And really looking forward to the next level that you can bring, and I think you're already bringing to the DAO with some of your ideas and the directions that you're pulling for, and the effort that you Vestor, Kmets, and everyone else that actually doing it are willing to put out there with all the small business development stuff behind the scenes, talking to people, trying to create whatever. Honestly amazed by what all you guys do, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Of course, we really had a very nice broadcast day today.
Thank you guys,
and Aladdin, and have fun.
We have a big day tomorrow. Let's not forget, we have a big day tomorrow with our USD.
Oh yeah, it's coming. What time? Do we have the time for it, by the way? Do we already know what time?
I think we're planning on 10 a.m. Eastern, so somewhere around there.
Oh wow! Well, if you want to come and talk about it on Leviathan, let us know. Let's try to squeeze you in there if you guys want to. And by the way, everyone, we're hoping to do a launch party on Friday, right after the Llama party on Leviathan. Hopefully around 11 a.m. Eastern or something like that. Everything goes well, so make sure to put that on your calendar as well. And thanks again, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the talk.
Yeah,
thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
See you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, folks.